tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a wrap.
All-time greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was amazed after seeing Terence Crawford's intense training for the Canelo fight. Having fought him before, Spence recognized Crawford's high ring IQ and top-level skills. In recent sessions, Crawford showed incredible speed, accuracy, and flawless footwork. He looked powerful, sharp, and fully focused. This version of Crawford is a serious threat that Canelo should not overlook.
Step right here and roll.
When Terence Crawford looked back on his fight with Errol Spence, it was clear both fighters had great respect for each other. Crawford, famous for his calm and calculated approach, explained how he breaks opponents down step by step before unleashing powerful combinations.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, like, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, like, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything started weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former world champion and analyst Chris Algieri offered a strong take when comparing Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. He noted that while Crawford has consistently dominated and controlled almost every fight, Canelo has had moments where he was clearly outworked, what boxing experts call getting bossed. A prime example was Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol, where Bivol's size, jab, and discipline controlled the bout. Algieri believes Crawford's style, built on control, adaptability, and technical mastery, can pose serious problems for even experienced champions like Canelo.
And Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around.
Yep.
Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that, but I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare, maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So if you're talking about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that just psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic. Even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets When he gets that in his head that, he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman gave a balanced assessment, noting that while both Crawford and Canelo bring unique strengths, Crawford holds the edge based on recent form and overall skill. He pointed out that Crawford's timing, switch hitting, and knockout power have reached their peak in recent years. Meanwhile, Canelo, though still a top-tier fighter, has shown slight declines in movement and aggression. Kellerman acknowledged Canelo's size advantage, which could matter in close exchanges, but when weighing speed, precision, defense, and adaptability, he leaned toward Crawford as the more complete and sharper fighter right now.
Punching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guig.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned Canelo's power. So who, I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has the better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
The build-up to this mega fight is intriguing. Crawford is moving up in weight, which can challenge a fighter's speed and stamina. Canelo, though experienced at this weight, isn't as explosive as he once was. In recent bouts, he struggled to score knockouts and has shifted to a more controlled, cautious style instead of constant pressure. This means that while Crawford faces a physical challenge, Canelo's decline in certain areas helps balance things out. If Crawford delivers sharp footwork, high ring IQ, and strong stamina, he has a clear path to victory.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford, as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid.
Rising boxing star Abdullah Mason showed strong confidence in Crawford, predicting not just a win, but a surprising one for many fans. He highlighted Crawford's often underrated power, which could shock the world. While many see Canelo as stronger because of his size, Mason argued that Crawford's timing, angles, and precision could make his punches even more dangerous. If Crawford lands clean shots consistently, especially in the later rounds, Mason believes his prediction could come true.
Him in Dubai maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. he able to win this fight. But there is a lot of but, and even not but, there is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's different, big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jermell Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously.
Keith Thurman gave a thoughtful take on this matchup. He noted that while the fight might look even to casual fans, a closer technical look shows key differences. Referring to Canelo's recent fight with Jermall Charlo, Thurman pointed out how Canelo struggled when Charlo used smart movement and footwork. Even as the aggressor, Canelo couldn't control the ring or land decisively once Charlo applied his ring IQ. Thurman suggested that Crawford, who is even more strategic and cerebral than Charlo, could pose similar or even bigger challenges for Canelo.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan, joined by comedian and boxing fan Mike Vecchio, praised Terence Crawford highly. Rogan called Crawford a talented and dangerous athlete, highlighting his skills, mindset, and dedication. He noted that the Canelo fight is both a major challenge and a huge opportunity for Crawford, both financially and for his legacy. Rogan even suggested that Crawford is arguably one of the best boxers in the world today, and this fight could cement his place among the all-time greats. Crawford himself shared his approach to the matchup. He acknowledged the size difference, recognizing that Canelo might try to use his weight and pressure to wear him down. Yet Crawford remained calm and confident, prepared for whatever comes. His mindset shows both physical and mental readiness. He respects Canelo but trusts his ability to adapt. This mix of humility and self-belief makes Crawford a smart and dangerous fighter in the ring.
Good, you know, work has been going great, and, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, you know, think it was, you know, a fight that he wanted. So, I didn't really know, but you know, thanks to Turkey, Alashik, he made it possible, and you know, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, you know, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, you know, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. You know, he's the bigger man. I expect him to, you know, box a little bit, but I also expect him, you know, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, you know, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. You know, the odds can't fight for him. So, you know, it is what it is.
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White also voiced his support for Crawford, picking him to win. His reasoning was straightforward. Crawford has faced tough challenges before. Even moving up in weight, Terence has proven he can handle bigger opponents by using smart strategies to neutralize their strengths. According to Jai, this fight is just a new opponent and a bigger stage, not uncharted territory for Crawford. He expressed confidence that Terence will stay composed and perform as always, calculated, precise, and powerful.
No. So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You'd make money.
Okay.
Just put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to beat him?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who is amazing. Canelo has just, oh my God, like he evolved. I saw how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
I mean, Canelo is naturally heavier.
Yeah, Crawford ain't gonna knock him out.
Huh.
But I don't know if Canelo's gonna land very solidly on Crawford.
Calvin Ford, trainer of Gervonta Davis, praised Terence Crawford for embracing such a huge challenge. Ford highlighted that it takes a special mental and spiritual strength to step into a fight where the odds, weight, and pressure are all against you. He said this is what sets Crawford apart, his courage to pursue greatness even when the risk is high. Facing formidable opponents head-on, both literally and figuratively, shows Crawford's legacy-focused mindset.
Be the best example for him. Last question for you. Crawford, Canelo, who wins? Man, both of them guys are great. I respect Canelo. I respect Crawford to jump in and take a big fight like that. And that's what makes great fights, to see the big fights and wondering which side gonna win. But like I said, they say Canelo is the GOAT. I remember when Canelo fought Floyd, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like we getting another chance at seeing Crawford fight Canelo.
Veteran trainer Robert Garcia gave an honest take on Canelo's current style. He noted that unlike earlier in his career, Canelo isn't chasing knockouts as much anymore. Instead, he uses a more measured approach, winning rounds, conserving energy, and protecting himself. Garcia attributed this to age and long-term career management. While Canelo remains dangerous, this change means he might not bring the same intensity Crawford expects. If Crawford takes advantage of the slower pace, the fight could tilt in his favor.
Look, it's just Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but
he's fighting since 15.
He was 15. a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. And not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more.